been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our growlings when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the moss room. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me home.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I'll be your superhero. I'll be your superhero.
I never wanna hold you back. I wanna give you every chance to make it, to make it. I'm afraid if our love collides, you'll leave me alone tonight. 'Cause I'm changing and I'm breaking. Is this over? I'm scared to ask these questions, 'cause I know that you'll reject my love. Moving slower, frozen to these pieces without a shoulder to cry on. stand against all enemies, your enemies. I'm afraid if our love collides, you'll leave me alone tonight. 'Cause I'm changing and I'm breaking, but I'll still be your superhero. I'll be your superhero. But I'll still be your superhero. I'll be your superhero.
The back and forth has got me so messed up. Don't ignore the signs, we've had enough of the whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way out. Find a way, find a way out. What's all this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way out. Find a way out.
caused myself away, away, away. I caused myself away, away. I caused myself
Sometimes I've been thinking, I'm dreaming of what it could have been besides memory. 'Cause I still need you. Track.
But if there's nothing left to cry for, then I will just crack a smile. Oh, if it was never what you wanted, we've been lying from the start. Guess I knew it, just ignored it. I let go of your cold hand.
I'm on my last straw. I'm broken and I'm woken up. I'm done feeding your lies. I've had enough. I can't run your place in this faulty game. And all the words you speak mean nothing more to me. 'Cause let's start over now. Rewind, and I won't let you go. I need you by my Now I got this feeling that haunts me. I swear it's the blood running through my veins. Now you're living right here inside me, and I'm just trying to cope with the things you say. Even if the curtain drops and the daydream stops, we might just give it one more shot, or just end it on the spot. Is this the final call? As we're stuck in a crowded ticket hall. Is this the final call? Tell me, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?
but it's up to you. Different directions, different connections. I am going nowhere, but it's up to you. Is this the final call? As we're stuck in a crowded ticket hall, is this the final call? Tell me, what are we waiting for? 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 Every day we escape, losing all of our faith. We can't live this way. Feel me slowly fade away. Feel me slowly fade away. As far as the wind will take me. Every day I feel time slipping, passing, skipping by. All the words I could say just can't really seem to stay. Feel me slowly fade away. As far as the wind will take me.
divide all the fractions of my mind. Take away all the pain. Give myself another day. Give myself another day. Every day I decide if we'll ever
Why are you looking at me like that?
Nothing. I'm just not used to seeing dragons.
Impressed, huh? Oh, wait till you see my backstroke. I'm a wicked when I hit that liquid. I got water skills that kill. I slaughter when I hit the water. I'm like really good at swimming through rhyme. I was trying to make that I'm really good at I'm a good swimmer. Is basically what I'm.
Okay, we need to keep going.
Oh no!
What? What is it?
We forgot to bring a gift for the tail chief.
I'm sorry, a gift?
Yeah, a gift says, you can trust me. Can I trust you? Oh, hey there, little fella. Oh, this beetle's got a booty.
Careful. It's a toot and boom.
Why is it called a... Got it. Noted. Makes sense.
Before I start this video, I just wanted to say that my birthday is this Tuesday on the 31st, and I wanted to thank you all for any birthday wishes that you may leave for me on Twitter or YouTube, as well as all the support that you have all given me over the past couple years that I have been in the fandom. Enjoy the video. Being in the furry fandom is great until you get onto the business side of things. I made a couple of videos in the past where I discussed about some expensive purchases and how they bit me in the butt by commissioning a poor maker. If you've seen these videos before, you might understand how patient that I can be. I worked in customer service for a couple of years in the past, and that's how I became mentally prepared to be extremely patient, like when I waited over a year for a fursuit to be made that was advertised to be done in only 2 to 3 months. However, after commissioning a well-known business, I learned my lesson. Smaller businesses are more customer appreciated than larger businesses. Larger businesses are more money grabbers, and small businesses are more focused on getting their works out into the public. I made a rule to myself, which is this: do not call out any small businesses because they've got more reputation to lose, and they should be more forgiving because they must fit their business hours in with their personal lives. Well, today there's going to be one exception. Introducing Sugar and Spice Fursuits, a maker who I sent $950 to, and is the equivalent to Lemon Brat when it comes to customer service. Let's start all the way at the beginning, which was at the beginning of 2019. I hosted a group chat and a friend of mine mentioned that he was going to order from a maker who makes reasonably priced fursuits. This was the time when I got my fursuit back from Lemon Brat, and I was looking at getting some parts replaced because I didn't like the quality of how they turned out. My friend mentioned that there was a tax return sale going on with her business, and that Digidegrade bodysuits were worth $2,300, which were priced roughly $1,000 less than Lemon Brat at the time. My Planet Grade fursuit from Lemon Brat was worth about $3,100 without the extra repairs needed, and a Digidegrade upgrade would have brought the total to $3,400, making it $1,100 more expensive than what this maker was advertising for. I thought to myself, cool, I get to upgrade my suit and save a little extra money by not having to order a full fursuit and just a bodysuit. I ordered from Sugar and Spice and we agreed on a price of $950 for a new Digidegrade bodysuit. We chatted a little after payment was sent and she mentioned to me that she had a terrible customer at the time who forced her to work while she was in pain because the customer has become impatient and she had surgery on her hand and wrist area and she was literally in pain while using her sewing machine because her customer wouldn't allow her to make a full recovery before starting work again. I felt bad at the time and I even defended her and mentioned that she shouldn't take crap from someone like that if she was trying to recover from a surgery. And at that point, I trusted her. She seemed genuine, and I was looking forward to getting my suit created by her so that I didn't feel ashamed while wearing a Lemon Brat fursuit. Plus, I would have thicker thighs, and I would be able to go from Plantigrade to Digidegrade. I asked her when it was supposed to be done, and she estimated that it was going to be done around Midwest Fur Fest of 2019. I was fine with the completion date, and then I asked later when it was going to be started and if progress photos were going to be included. She said that it was going to be started after her Anthrocon commissions, and that progress photos were going to be included. Okay, no red flags yet. Several months later, however, I asked her if I could get my first samples back from her that I previously sent her because I needed them for ordering a new fursuit head. She said yes, but she needed my address again. Okay, no worries. I sent her my address, and she never sent those first samples back. Instead, she actually switched the topic to talk about her suits, and I was fine with that because I understand that she takes pride in her work, and she wants to self-promote herself. Honestly, the suit didn't look that bad at all. However, she still never sent it back, and when I mentioned that I was ordering a new fursuit head, she said, "Oh, I can make a fursuit head if you want." And she said that so everything would be made at once and everything would arrive at the same time. I declined because this was roughly 4 or 5 months after I sent payment and I still haven't received any photos yet. I was a little suspicious at this point, and that's why I declined. She even offered to price match, but I still declined, and I mentioned yet again that I wanted the bodysuit first before ordering anything from her again, so that I could feel how the quality was. Okay, now red flag number 1 starts right here. I asked when the bodysuit was going to be done, and she mentioned that it was almost done. Okay, great, so no progress photos, that's wonderful. No questions about the design, and that was a little suspicious too. I asked for photos, and she said that she was going to send them when she got back to work. This was on August 31st of 2019, which was a little over 7 months ago since I have uploaded this video. September 6th, I asked for progress photos again, no response. September 8th, I asked again, got no photos. September 10th, nothing. September 25th is when I finally heard back from her, but it wasn't about my bodysuit. It was about her boyfriend being in the hospital. I felt genuinely bad at the time, so I told her it was fine and that I wished him well. October 11th, I clarified with her to see if the bodysuit was still on track to being finished on time, and she said yes, and then complained that she was overworking herself. Anyways, just so that I stop listing dates, I'm just going to show you all this screenshot here to prove that all I'm doing is asking for updates, which were promised the date that I ordered from her. However, November 27th, she sent me an image of a video of mine, which is about me talking about my lemon bra issues. She saw that I call out my previous fursuit maker for running such a poorly customer service business. And then, here's when I really got my hopes up. She told me that she was going to make me some free paws and free feet for my fursuits because my current paws and feet weren't going to work with this new bodysuit. That right there is something supposedly being made, but she is refusing to show anything, which is one of many red flags that I have been mentioning in this video so far. Because she was going to make me some more paws and feet, she was going to extend the turnaround time for the suits, so I finally got an official delay from her. Keep in mind, once again, that the first time that I was promised photos was going to be in October, and a couple months later I still haven't received anything. Anyways, about 3 weeks later, I'm going to repeat myself for the billionth time in this video. I sent even more requests to her for some progress photos, and then I eventually lost it. I sent this text to her, which is something that I'm going to read out loud for all of you. I said, "Sorry, I don't want to be rude, but I need to say something or nothing is going to happen. I'm not happy at all that it's been almost a year since I've sent payment, and the bodysuit and paws have been delayed twice. I mainly went to you because I knew I'd find someone who would do a better job than Lemonbrot, but you're treating me just like Lemonbrot did, delaying by months, not responding to messages, etc. I understand that there are health issues going on in your life and with your boyfriend, but I would be more understanding if I was updated. I looked at your Twitter and I'm under the impression that you're making pre-mades right now. I looked at your work in progress channel and I'm finding nothing at all about my suit in it. I want to know what's going on right now, please." Anyways, her response was predictable at this point. All she said is, "Hey love, your suit will be completed with photos this coming weekend," smiley face. I asked if she was sure and she said yes. A couple weekends go by and now we are caught up to the present, where I said hi. So I haven't received any photos, updates, anything like that. I'm going to start taking action. I'm sorry, I've been playing nice for too long. This is completely unacceptable, and I, once again, would be more lenient with delays if I was properly updated with life events or anything that's going on in your personal life. I don't know how you do it. Hold off customers' orders months past the deadline. Not feel ashamed about unhappy customers. After I sent this message, that's when I started to write the script for this video, and after doing some more research on her, this is not the first time that she's done this to customers. There's actually a buyer's beware about her when you type in sugar and spice costumes on Google. When you click on this buyer beware, the author actually writes a lot about what happened, which I won't go too much detail into. However, when you look at the bottom of the beware, you can take a peek at the proof and you can see that there are a ton of things wrong with their poor fursuit. The shoe size was wrong, the proportions on the head were off, the jaw is misaligned, the ears are misaligned, the hair is too short and it looked messy, the eyebrows are misaligned, and more. I will be including this beware in the description of the video for all of you to check out if you would like. There's one other beware that I wanted to mention, and in the beware, the maker brings up some of the same excuses that were brought up to me, and this beware was created exactly 1 year ago since I've been writing the script, which is February 2nd of 2020. Done, but in this scenario, they actually meet up near a convention. I won't go through the full beware, but you can see here that she actually talks about not knowing information about the fur that she uses. She claims them to not buy them online, and just from a local supplier. She then talks about sending pictures when a customer leaves, but never sends them. She agrees on giving them at Biggest Little Fur Convention, and then makes another claim that she's been taking pain management drugs. She made an excuse like this with me before, where she talked about her and her boyfriend having health issues. This screenshot was from January of 2017, and as of November of 2019, I blurred out the text because I wanted to keep it confidential for her. She made an excuse about being hospitalized. Keep in mind that in January of 2017, she's in her 20s, and as of late 2019, she's talking about her and her boyfriend being in the hospital several of times to guilt trip her customers to make an excuse for not completing products on time. Later in this beware, Sugar and Spice is ignoring her client, and then finally agrees to meet up with them at noon. She makes a claim that her boyfriend is having heart issues and causes her client to idle for not 1, not 2, not even 3, but roughly 4 damn hours that this poor customer had to sit in a car with his friend in order to pick up his fursuit. When this customer picked up the fursuit, there were no feet included with the fursuit. He constantly fought with Sugar and Spice from June of 2017 to March of 2018 to get his feet back. And once he finally received them, they were the wrong colors. I could go on for much longer, however, but I'm going to end it right there and leave this buyer beware also in the description if you would like to read the full story there. Okay, now it's March 27th of 2020, and I wanted to give another update since I wanted to give this maker one last chance before I refilmed and re-edited this video. In early March, she said that the suit was created, but she never sent me photos. After I bothered her a couple times from the screenshots you can see here, she never responded. I partially blame the coronavirus outbreak, but either way, she knew that I was making a video to talk about her, and she still didn't want to treat me any better as a customer. Even though she said she wants me happy, she never updated me, read my messages, nor treat me like I was a customer instead of a cash grab. Alright, that about wraps up my video today. I hope that you all stuck with me throughout the video, and I hope that I warned all of you about some of the precautions that you need to take when you need to try and invest in something big online, especially in the furry fandom. People like Sugar and Spice are the sole reason as to why small businesses like these can be such a hit or miss if you're looking for a fursuit. Do not, I repeat, do not order from
I woke up at night because it'd wake other people up. So I'd take like a honey bun package from the pantry and a vanilla Coke from the fridge to perk me up. I didn't have breakfast and I didn't have lunch at school at the time either, which is its own story. Poor kids unite. Regardless, this is how I started living for a period of time. And my memory from around this time is so bad. Literally, I can remember all of my years of high school except this one. I don't remember who my teachers were, what lunch period I had, or anything I did after, like outside of school. I only remember N and some of my drawings. Some songs I had on repeat over and over I remember. But in my mind, that period of my life is just black. I can't explain it. The memories I do have also feel like so out of body, like me watching my body go about life without me. Like almost like I was on autopilot. Like if bodies have souls, it was like my soul was doing something else, but my body was just going about life without me. It was weird, but regardless, forgive me here for being a gullible goober plus whatever the heckaroni I had going on at the time, which was a concoction for an absolute disaster. Anyways, after announcing to N that I was switching up my schedule, so did he. He vowed to stay up with me so I wouldn't be alone, and I really, really valued it. Before I knew it, I felt like I had fallen in love with this person. I felt looks truly didn't matter, and it was all about the personality deep inside. Me and Anne formed a relationship through text on a keyboard, and thus chaos ensues. So after a little bit of happy-go-lucky times, one day N is notoriously upset, like making it a point for me to know that he's upset. So of course, my dingus head takes the bait. I prod him for what's wrong, and he plays difficult and tries to get me to force the answer out of him. Eventually I do, and he tells me that he's depressed. Why? It is the 1-year anniversary of his ex-girlfriend breaking up with him. I'm serious. Obviously, I thought that was a little much. He then explains that his ex K did something just so horrible and scarred him to this day. What is it, you may ask? K cheated on him with, wait for it, lie. I think, something along those lines. But the real kicker? N, K, Y, and some other fourth person were all in this MSN chat group. All of them roleplayed sexually together all the time, every day. Red flag number 3. Not only that, but turns out K's a guy and had been lying to N. But also, remember C from earlier? The guy who introduced me to Y? N thinks that Y is actually C. So Y is also a dude role-playing a girl online. So after this explanation, I learned that all 4 of these people are adult men role-playing online as lesbian teenage girls. Red flag 400. I also kind of realized in retrospect that Y probably was C, and C was like role-playing with me sexually, pretending to be this woman character, I guess. And he was bummed that I was talking to female him, but not normal him. Regardless, he then goes on to explain, he being N, that they all had their specific fetishes that they roleplayed, and he listed them. On there was futanari, so I was like, yep, that lines up with what I know about Y. But on there, I saw diapers. I made some sort of disgusted response and said that was gross. And he came to the defense saying, it's not like crapping on them, it's just like wearing them. My absolute -1 brain cell self just accepted it. Like, I want to dropkick my past self for that. Why do you think he's defending the diapers, you ding dong? Anyways, business as usual continues. The relationship seemed okay, until once in a while, on occasion, where somehow I made him upset. His method of working through it, reconciliation. I'm going to go offline on MSN when I'm always online, jump onto CSGO so she gets the Steam notification, and ignore young Yuki buns until she comes begging on her knees in the DMs. Every time he was mad, he would jump into a game and ignore me. I was literally being punished by him playing video games. And of course, anytime he was upset, it's the biggest deal in the universe, and I have to fix it. The relationship was healthy, right, guys? Well, this relationship was obsessive. He would say we were bound by destiny and fate had to be real and that's why we met. He would switch from busy to online just as I messaged him when I came home from school and say, oh my god, I just got on to when you messaged me, it's fate, and stuff like that. Oh man, guys. After a while, I started buying into it too. He got into my head. It was so extreme, dude. We started watching anime together. One of them was Vampire Knight, and guess who looked exactly like the main protagonist, who also was named Yuki. He literally thought of us exactly like Zero and Yuki, and we watched the anime as if it was genuinely about us. Guys. Guys. When I messaged him, he would say, oh my god, every time you message me, this song shuffles on. Must be fate. And he sends me this pretty Kingdom Hearts melody. He'd say, it's destiny. He talked about us going to Japan together, starting a family and having lots of babies. Let me just say, y'all, I don't remember when exactly in this relationship I found this out, but he was like a 21-year-old college student. I know by now you guys are probably thinking it's some pot-bellied 45-year-old man with Cheeto dust fingers in his mom's basement, but he wasn't. He was a college student studying programming for games. His goal was to learn Japanese and go to Japan and work on programming games. And of course, at the time, being stupid and 16 years old, like the whole age is just a number meme with like, what is it, like a 16-year-old girl and 21-year-old man. That was literally us. God. Let me just say, guys, this is gonna be a cough personal, but it's a splash related to this timeline. I ended up dropping out of school. My health got worse and worse, and I was like a walking zombie. I had a teacher notice something was up and had me sent to the social worker's office, which I didn't even know we had. And the lady there pretty much questioned if I was suicidal and depressed. And guys, I was on holy levels of pissed off because I was not depressed, and I figured she was stereotyping because I looked edgy. I wouldn't even look her in the eye. But to be honest, all I remember from that encounter was staring at the floor, feeling so sleepy, exhausted. When I got home, I started asking myself, am I gonna die? I felt so tired, so unworldly tired, that maybe I'd never wake up. My memory got even fuzzier then, and I couldn't take my mom cussing me out anymore. I had had enough, and I needed to find out how to straighten myself out again. I made the decision to drop out so I could focus on my health. Not only that, but I was so behind in my classes from missing so much school anyways that I probably would have failed. It was fairly close to the end of the school year anyways, so it was like kind of somewhat like an extended summer break almost. Around this time, I was living with like 10 people in my house, but I remember feeling so lonely. There were people like physically around, but it felt like nobody there for me to like go to, no one to talk to. I spent most of my time in my room drawing alone, except for N. N was the only person always there for me, the only person to hear the contents of my heart no matter what it was. I started to become like dependent on N. I don't think I ever told anybody this part now that I'm thinking about it, but N was my whole life during that time. The animes I watched, the manga I read, the things I talked about, all the deepest, darkest thoughts in my mind were all with N. My whole life was through the screen. But enough of that, guys. Let's move on to even more delicious red flags. So around this time, our trust for each other was stronger than ever. It's okay if I felt like my family hated me because N would always be there to care for me. I feel like in a lot of ways he felt similarly, like he didn't have any real friends and seemed detached from his family, and some dumb 16-year-old on the internet was willing to accept him for who he was. Well, that's when he started to reveal his secrets to me. Da 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 da! Diaper fetish! I made the mistake of asking where his fetish came from after he told me, and he had a story. In the bottom of his dresser, in the drawer with no knobs, he has his darkest secret, a stash of adult diapers. Depends. But they were stolen from his now deceased grandma. My reaction? Well, deep down I knew it was kinda weird, but I just rolled with it. So at some point, I don't remember why, I think I joked that he was a lolicon. He would get so mad and put up a fight about it, but I was like, hey dog, I'm a small, young, flat-chested grill. And he would get angry and insist that lollies were literally children, like 5-year-olds, and that's not him at all. Fast forward to him revealing to me his, like, most secret dojin that he gets off to, which was, guess what? 2 literal characters depicted like lollies, like depicted as children, getting each other off in diapers, and gosh, this is so gross, completing, if you know what I mean, by peeing. It was gross. So let me wrap up some more details really quick before this train wreck catches fire. I had seen him once or twice in potato quality videos. I knew that he was tall, a little chunky, with longish dark hair. I knew where he lived, his financial situation, his school. I knew he was the youngest of 9 kids, lived with his parents, and 3 other siblings. We started voice chatting, and gosh diddle did that start out so cringy. Like, imagine an adult white dude badly pretending to voice act as a hot anime dude saying the most revolting generic lovey-dovey lines like, Yuki is my destiny, and stuff like that. And for the record, y'all, I'm fairly certain he knew my real name, like my real first name, but still, like, called me Yuki up until the day we stopped talking. Alrighty, y'all. For our 1-year anniversary, he started discussing us meeting up for the first time at an anime convention near him. He would pay for everything for me, flights, badge, food, everything. I would meet his family, stay at his house, we would play his visual novel game that he had for me. That's about the foreigners going to Japan, so we could live out our weeb dream of going to Japan together. Listen guys, my parents would hardly let me do shit. Like, getting to voluntarily drop out for my health already seemed like a lot, but during my makeup classes, I dropped the question to my mom, do you trust me enough to travel by myself? And I don't know how I did it, but I gave her the details and she agreed. Before I knew it, my weekend trip with my quote-unquote friend was set. So now comes the time where I became a little more persistent with getting to know each other more. I begged for more video chats, and he reluctantly agreed and showed little, but more and more over time. He was very awkward, but I thought, whatever. But here's the catch, folks. I started coming to, so to speak. My health was getting better, my mind was getting clearer, and I realized, what in God's great earth did I get myself into? I started to become, afraid? I knew he wasn't necessarily a bad person. He's so awkward and dramatic that I knew his theatrics were genuine. This wasn't an adult man role-playing as a boy conveniently my age. This was genuinely a 21-year-old dating a 16-year-old. I knew he was an alright guy and he wouldn't hurt me, but oh man, something was still making me nervous. I almost wanted to call off the trip, but I was so excited for it. It would have been my second anime convention, and it was a big one in a new city that I had never been. So I eventually decided that ultimately I was going to stick with it and take care of myself. If anything, I'd go as my version of an anniversary gift to him. But honestly, once my mind started to clear up and the mental fog was gone, the feelings faded too. I really adored and valued my friends at school, and I guess I didn't need to latch onto him quite like I did before. And the attraction just wasn't there anymore. And the daily convos slowed down, the theatrics slowed down. And eventually, the trip came, and guys, I went. Here it comes, boys. So I arrive in this city and state I had never been in, with maybe $50 to my name and nothing but the bare essentials, like a shitty phone equivalent to a doggone Nokia and my own devices. I sat alone in this airport and texted him that I arrived, I'd gotten off the plane, and I was waiting. And I sat. It was weirdly empty for what I thought would be a major airport. Every person that went by, I felt my nerves perk up, and then I realized it wasn't him. He was running pretty late. Oh my god. Maybe he didn't get my text. Maybe it was all a ploy and he didn't even intend to show up. I started plotting out how I was going to sleep in the airport, spread my money out for food only, and just board the plane back home, because, that would work out. But he eventually showed up. I damn near smelt him before I saw him. I will put an illustration on screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I don't think words alone can do this justice. He stood before me, tall as heck. He had a fresh new cut, but it was like a genuine bowl cut, but gone wrong. It was strange because he told me his mom was a hairstylist, but chunks of still shoulder-length hair decorated his bowl chop. There were spots of his skin that were weirdly darker than the rest, but it didn't appear to be anything like a rash or eczema, or even psoriasis. But I have a theory on where they came from, but I'll let further details tell you that story so you can infer for yourselves. His hair was incredibly greasy also, and his teeth were rotting out of his mouth. I knew he had bad teeth and hid them from me nervously in video chats, but these fuckers are on their way out. He was complaining about toothaches to me in previous chats, but would throw a bitch fit when I suggested going to a dentist, and he wouldn't tell me why. Regardless, he says there's a cab ready for us, and the two of us walk out to it. In the car we're sitting, and his smell is so strong I feel bad for the driver. He cracked some jokes that seemed kinda rude, but I sat there silently. We met up with his dad, who drove us the rest of the way home. His dad was super friendly, but he too seemed like he had greasy hair. He showed me around their hometown and was super sweet. He definitely thought he was gonna marry off his youngest, I'll tell you what. Then we got to their house. Picture a hoarder's house, but not quite as bad. You could still walk through it and your feet are on the floor. But there are sticky spots on the floor everywhere and flies everywhere. And after we got in, his mom scurried out with a broom and swatted the flies away and then introduced herself. Let me say, this woman looked like the most generic witch you could picture from a movie or cartoon. Sans the hat. She had long, black, greasy, stringy hair like the girl from The Ring. She had, I think, one tooth and talked exactly like you'd expect a cartoon witch would. I noticed at this point that the whole teeth and hair thing isn't just him. Bathe this one time. Homie straight up rarely bathed. Let me say this though, his parents did seem like angels. They were so kind of accommodating, almost feel kind of bad. So he takes me to his room where he shows me where his bed is, and at this point I panic. I know about some not safe for work happenings in here, and I get nervous that the sticky spots on the floor might actually be not safe for work crusties, and I panic that there will be something like that in the bed. Every sticky spot on the floor, I panic, and I'm not sure whether it's soda or something worse. But either way, that Zora is meant to sleep. Yeehaw. So I spent the first day with him showing me around, and he takes me to this local mall. This mall is also like abnormally empty, kind of like the airport, and it seemed like apocalyptic, to be honest. Like it made things way more scary than they should have been. He shows me an FYI, I think, before those went out of business and bought like Pocky and Ramune and stuff like that. After some time, I hear what I think is my name on the intercom and think that's weird, but doubt that it's me, like I must have misheard it. But then I had a funny feeling in my gut, and on a whim, I decide to go up to their help desk and ask like if they called for me. I found out that on a bench I had left my purse with everything I had, like my money, my state ID, my boarding passes for the airport, and someone found it and brought it up. Holy guacamole, guys, you gotta take me back to the Yuki store and trade me in for a new one. Seriously. Afterwards, on our way out, we run into some like acquaintances of him, like outside smoking. Hey, insert N's real name, how have you been? And he starts flipping his uneven bowl cut and pretending to be cool in response. Is this your girlfriend? One guy asks, kind of laughing. And while N kind of chuckles nervously, I kind of accidentally blurted out that it wasn't, almost like defensively. But they had their chat and we headed home. I'll let you guys on a little secret of sorts. So, I know this isn't the best, but I had already mentally broken up with this guy in my mind and had started crashing on another friend of mine. Guess what, guys? He was also an older guy online. Hee-haw! I know that's dumb, but on the bright side, me and this guy are still friends to this day. I'll call him by the name he actually goes by because A, I actually remember it, and B, we're still cool. So, this feller, Iffy, I followed on Tumblr because he did a bunch of cool Vocaloid stuff, and I was really into Vocaloid at the time. And we kind of became friends on Tumblr. But my Tumblr, I wasn't super public about at the time, and wasn't aware that, well, you guys will find out. But anyways, to comfort myself, I sent him anonymous asks on Tumblr, just flirting with him, and went to sleep. Next day was con day. We got matching cosplays of Zero and Yuki from Vampire Night, LOL. My hair naturally looked like hers, so I didn't have a wig, but a gray wig for Zero. We were all dressed up and packed up except for his wig, and we headed out. After chaos of me being scared of escalators like a baby and going on Greyhound bus to the convention center, we made it there. We both go to the bathroom. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm notoriously slow in the bathroom. Takes me 5,000 years, everybody knows. But I come out of the bathroom and wait I swear another 45 minutes for this dude. I start panicking once again. I'm making these dumb emergency plans oh, I'll just sleep around the con in random places and then take a taxi back to the airport on the day I'm supposed to leave, but finally he comes out. I will illustrate what he looks like, because there's no way in hell I could describe this. The wig is sitting on top of his bowl cut like a hat. I can't even make eye contact. He does the thing where he tries to flip his hair, scoff, and act cool, but I cannot even look at him. He says, "What? What?" I said, "Nothing." And we start walking. Of course, with me 10 feet behind him. We go and sit in this hotel lobby, and he whips out the legendary Pocky and Ramune to kick off his AnimeCon annual routine. He hands me the special Hello Kitty Ramune bottle he got for me, which I open, and he acts surprised and asks me how mine didn't spill. And I was confused. You just popped the marble in with the plastic? Well, I don't know what exactly he did, but he goes to do it and starts fizzing and spilling Ramune everywhere all over this hotel floor. He gets mad but carries on. Makes no, does not address the mess he made at all. Sticky shit all over the floor, no napkins. So he's already got an attitude. And also, let me just say, so he had planned to have me play this visual novel with him on his laptop on the bus ride, right? But he opens up his laptop as planned and scoots it over to me to play, and I refuse. And he gets mad. And I'm like, bro, no, his laptop is sticky and covered in shit, and there's white spots on it, and I know that's the laptop he talks to me with and vaps on, and I'm like, absolutely not, sir. And he got so mad. And guys, listen to me, he's a nice guy, but he's also I don't know, when he gets mad, he growls and gets aggressive, and it's scary. I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy. I don't think he'd hurt me, but man, God, those angry moments were scary. So he's already, he has an attitude, let's put it that way. And his wig and, the soda spilling all over the floor, he was not having the best of times, I guess. So then he's like, "Oh, this stupid wig, it was a waste of money." And he pulls it off his greasy, dirty, smelly head. and throws it on the couch across from him. And we get up, like we're gonna leave. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'll leave it there, somebody will grab it. I'm like, no, you should throw that away if you don't want it. He's like, no, somebody will grab it. I'm thinking like, no, some unfortunate hotel person's gonna have to grab that disgusting thing and throw it away themselves. There's not gonna be some random congoer who's just gonna walk up and fucking take some random person's wig. The hell? But anyways, we continue on. Oh boy. So throughout this weekend, I always maintained a distance behind him of like 10 feet minimum. Couldn't stand being close to him and it made me super uncomfortable. But I didn't really notice until the end of the trip that like his pants like always had a weird sag to them and like 24/7 his butt crack was out. Didn't understand, but whatever. So the first night we go back home for the day, I ask if I can take a shower, and he says yes, of course. I'm like, which bathroom? And he points to the bathroom that I had already used. And listen to me, guys. So there's a toilet, like a bathroom, right? And it had like a tub in it, but it didn't have a shower curtain. It didn't have like any soaps or anything like that. So I figured because, I mean, this is a big ass family. They probably have other bathrooms, and I didn't see anybody else go in this bathroom. So I figured they had a different bathroom for like their, you know, hygiene things like showering and brushing your teeth because there's no toothbrushes, no toothpaste. There wasn't even hand soap. And like, listen, I didn't wash my hands with soap when I was a kid, so I'm not gonna judge, but the other things seemed kind of weird. But he told me that that is also the bathroom I'm going to have to shower in. So I'm like, okay, thankfully I brought my own soaps. So I go into this bathroom and I don't even think it locked and it didn't have a shower curtain. So I'm in there panicking, like trying to bathe as fast as I can. I realized like, holy shit, there is something wrong here. And I'm like, oh god, I hope he doesn't like try to open the door and have an accidental like anime moment on me. Like, oh gosh, I didn't know, hee hee, or something. And I was just like, god, oh jeez, oh god. Thankfully that never happened, but I got out and was drying myself off and I realized there was like a children's drawing on the wall. And that's when I realized something. They don't clean and they don't bathe, like at all. Like it wasn't a coincidence there wasn't soap in there. And there's no children in this house. I'm pretty sure like his older siblings kind of like excommunicated themselves from the rest of the family, but the ones left over that still kind of like intermingle, the youngest one is the one I was seeing and he was 21. There has not been a child in that house in a long time. So it is possible that that like children's doodle on the wall and like pen or whatever it was, I forget, but it had probably been there for a couple of decades, like easily. I met his brother, who also didn't have teeth, that I start to understand the trend. Gosh, it's baffling, it's mind-blowing. Like, my parents would give me so much shit about how I'm so lazy and I'm so messy, but if I spill pop, I clean it up. These people straight up just leave it, and it gets all sticky and shit, and then they just keep walking over it like nothing ever happened. Oh my god, it blows my mind. I cannot even still to this day believe it. Oh boy. So, at some point we played some, like, games together, and I eventually go back to the bedroom and go to sleep, and let me tell you guys, I was shocked. Like, the bed was actually clean. Like, it smelled clean. Like, it had actually been washed. I mean, I was still cautious, but what can you do? But I stare over, and I see the dresser, and I see the drawer, and it hits me. Oh god, what if, like, for the first time in a long time, he broke out into that drawer for the occasion? And I'm like, no, that's not possible. No way. Still uncomfortable, I go back to flirting with my friend in the DMs of his, Tumblr ask and trying to pretend I'm somewhere else so I'm less scared. And the next day comes, and we had an okay time. I was still maintaining my distance. There's one period of time where he went to get food for us, I'm pretty sure, and had to wait in some line that takes 5,000 years. And like, I doodled, it was myself with my friend that I had a crush on at the time. And I flipped over to another page and he's like, what are you drawing? Let me see. When he came back, I'm like, no. And he got really upset, like offended that I wouldn't share him. And then because of that, I got defensive. And then he got more uncomfortable that I was being defensive, which raised his suspicions. Splendid. So that's most of what I recall from all that. Eventually I went home, but let me wrap up the trip with telling you guys. I don't know why I never realized it, and I think part of that is because I wasn't with him 24/7. Like, when he'd walk off to get food, I didn't know where he went, and when we got back to his house, like, I usually went to the bedroom by myself, like, without him much earlier than he went to sleep, so there's I don't know. But either way, let me just cut it to the chase. I never saw him go to the bathroom once. Let me repeat that. I never saw him go to the bathroom once, with an exception of the time he put the wig on. He never showered, he never brushed his teeth, and listen guys, during the convention weekend, there's probably chances that I've skipped a few days brushing my teeth. No biggie. And I probably shower maybe once a weekend, like, you know, at worst. And it's not a big deal. Like, there's nothing, like, particularly out of the ordinary about that because, you know, it takes several days of not bathing to smell strong. Or just smell at all. Fucking nasty motherfuckers. But anyways, I had come to the assumption, and I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure during that trip, he was wearing a diaper that whole time, and I think he was using it. Alright, so this is getting long as heck, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Because this is just terrible and embarrassing. But there you have it, guys. I, as a stupid 16-year-old, dated an internet stranger who had a diaper fetish. We refer to him affectionately as the diaper guy. And let me just say right now, if you just so happen to be the diaper guy and you're listening to this, I'm surprised that you've still kept up with my social media after all these years, despite me blocking you and telling you to leave me alone. But, I guess no hard feelings. Please bathe. Really, truly. I'm pretty sure those dark spots were like fungus growing on his skin. So that's really gross. You could change. It's not too late. I guess that's all I have. But let me just splash in a little something. Guys, especially when you're young, there is nothing acceptable whatsoever about someone that old trying to be in a relationship with someone that young. I know a lot of you don't want to hear it, and I know I didn't when I was that age, but like being older looking back, there is a reason why someone that old was not having any issues being in cahoots, like romantically and sexually, with a kid like me. And that's because he's insecure. He's not gonna find love somewhere else. And it's also this dynamic of him being in a position of power. He had control over me, he knew it, and he grappled that to his advantage until he couldn't anymore. So if you're young and you're out there and you think some stranger on the internet loves you, boy, I mean, it's possible, but probably not until you're an adult. I also have more internet relationship stories. They're not quite as cringy as this, but I maybe have some cautionary tales. But anyways, go ahead, meme me. I don't mind. Hopefully this is like, at a bare minimum, funny. Like, I hope you guys laugh. If not, well, Dab's forehead. So thank you guys so much. Please like if you enjoyed. Please sub, that'd be fantastic. But of course you don't have to. Follow me on social media if you got those. I have a Patreon with cool perks and all that. I'm still kind of new to it, so if you're a current patron and like if I seem like I'm not doing something right, please like don't hesitate to like reach out and DM me, because if there's something like awry, I will sort it out, because some things are like I don't 100% know how they work yet, but I'm figuring it out. But regardless, you will get your rewards. Promise. And, I have an Etsy store, and I just switched up my shipping method, so hopefully stuff will start going out much, much faster now, which I'm really excited about. And lastly, let me end this bad boy by saying, featured artists right here, take a look. Take a look-see, observe, enjoy. Their social media links will be down below, and if you want to be featured, be sure to join our Discord server and post one of your pieces of art in our art feature chat. Also, I am going to plan a special like Jackbox game stream on Saturday for those in our Discord server. So if you're a part of that server, you are welcome to join. If you're not a part of that server, well, what are you doing? Get in there and let's play some games together. Have some fun, giggles, laughs, and what have you. And yeah, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the video, drop them below. Same thing about the art, drop them below.
So hi, hello everyone. If you're listening to this, this is now the 5th time I'm posting this story time. And the reason for that, I don't know. Well, I do know. Originally, Wednesday ended up being very hectic for me, and I realized, oh, I don't have enough time to get a video up in time, so I'm just gonna have to go on Thursday. So I, did the audio, got all the editing done, did all my normal kit and caboodle, uploaded it, everything seemed fine. And then I had one of my very late, I'm waking up early because I have insomnia nights. And I went to just check because it was supposed to go, live on Thursday. And I suddenly got dinged. like 5 hours before the video was supposed to go live. And I was like, well, that's great. Now, for you guys who don't know, I'm going to have, like, in the iCard a Simply Dennis video explaining the yellow dollar sign. It's really not about money. When you get that stupid yellow dollar sign, they don't push it out to your subscribers. Like, they don't. So, my algorithm's already really bad right now. And so, because of that, if I got that stupid yellow dollar sign, that means even less people are going to see this. And don't really want that, because this is a fun story time and supposed to be fun and dandy and silly in this this trying time, because this month is already very, very, very hectic and not doing too great for Michi right now. But such is life. So let's just get into the story time and why the title sounds really clickbait, but it's not, because those are words that were told to me. All right, so I've had a lot of people ask me, like, hey, give us some more commissioner story times, give us more this and that, like talk more about your, like, you know, business and blah, 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 blah. And realistically, I've kind of talked about all my really bad experiences, and a lot of them aren't really warranting of a story time. But then, as I was getting stuff ready for my commission video, which will be coming soon, because my original commission, like, at questions video and topic video, that I did with my friend Empress Kaiju, formerly Aeroflex Dracona, she deleted without telling me. Still a little salty about that, Anna. Not gonna lie. So, but she's rebranding and doing all of her own stuff, so I get it. And so, but because of that, I get a lot of questions, a lot of, you know, hoopla about it. So I've been working on that, and while working on that, I suddenly remembered this really funny instance. So, this instance needs a backstory, hence why it's going to be a little longer. So, back when I was in middle school, I started making a stronger group of outcast weeb friends. Now, in the really early 2000s, it was not like what it is now, where anime is, like, mainstream and cool, and, you know, liking Halloween all the time is cool. It really wasn't. There were a lot of also, like, edgy emo fads going around that were very unhealthy that I cannot talk about, but they were fads. I definitely knew people who did some very not so nice things to themselves and their body because they thought it looked cool over people who, like, you know, actually had mental health issues. But anyway, so because of that, you know, me and my friends were, like, the outcasts in, like, the back, you know, the back of the school and stuff. And in that tiny group, we only had about, well, I would say 5 or 6 friends, give or take. It was also a big situation, which is something I learned about later in my adult life with high school, where it's like, I thought I had a big group of friends. Turns out I really didn't. I had a very tiny group of friends, but we all kind of hung out around each other. So when it came down to, like, would I one-on-one want to hang out with this person? Probably not. Would they want to one-on-one hang out with me? Probably not. And they're probably not your friend. That's probably like an acquaintance, like a shared acquaintance, or someone you can get along with or be friendly with. So that was kind of that situation. So I realistically only had, I would say, probably 3 of that, like, tiny little middle school friend group. And of one of those 3 was this person. I'm gonna name them Corin. And for this story, well, wait, I have to use the gender. There's no way around it. So Corin's a girl, all right? So Corin and I were one of those people where we were never that close. We had something in common. Again, I gotta be careful with, like, what I mention and what I don't. We had something in common that was, like, out of both of our controls, but it was, like, you know, middle school was cool. It's like, we got this thing in common that we have literally no control over because it was totally taken out of our hands by circumstance. But ain't that neat? And so Corin had a lot of issues. I had a lot of issues. But we were all a part of that friend group. And I remember we were all the weird kids. But Corin came from a family that, when I think about it now, it's the definition of dysfunctional and bad. I remember very clearly, recently, actually, because I remember, like, we had, like, a falling out with Corin, and I didn't remember what it was for the longest time. I didn't remember what it was for, and then I remembered, oh no, it was her parents and her family and stuff. Now, I don't like to blindly judge. Now, as human people, we judge. It's kind of a sad fact of human nature. We judge about one thing or another. No one's perfect. That's a thing. So when I remember going to their house was like unnaturally dirty. Now, my family didn't like keep a like crazy clean house. But like it was unnaturally dirty for a family that had like a stay-at-home parent. Corin came from a single income household, and I bring this up because Corin's stay-at-home parent was very crass and very blunt about some things. Now, I had to be very careful with what I say, but just keep in mind, we were in middle school, so you're around the ages of 11 to 13. That's the age range around middle school in America. If not, again, you're around 11 to 13, that age range. And so that's still a kid. You know, in high school, when you're a teenager, you're still technically a kid. But when you're there, you're like a little older, but that's when you start to learn things about, how the world works. And I remember Corin's parent talking about some very graphic sexual stuff and like making like really graphic sexual jokes about themselves in front of all of us. And it made like all of us uncomfortable, but it made Corin laugh because that's what Corin was used to. And it was one of those things where I remember it made us all really uncomfortable. And we had some instances where a lot of us felt uncomfortable around a lot of Corin's family that was living there. And we just didn't want to go back to Corin's house. And again, it was one of those things where we felt bad because we did like Corin, but it started becoming a like point of contention between our little like tiny friend group, to where, especially again, we were middle schoolers. We weren't very, honest and blunt with our opinions. And I remember telling my mom about an incident that happened. And my mom is a very understanding woman. And my mom flat out said, "You're never going to that house again." I know it's bad that I have to be vague, but I have to be vague or else this video won't go up because I went into detail, and that should just kind of leave it as it was. But let's just say, now, there's a difference, all right? This is very important, which does go into the story time. I swear, it's some backstory that leads up to the events. There's a big difference from like watching like Family Guy and like Futurama and Simpsons and stuff like that, and like where it's like slight raunchy TV humor. I know a lot of people must be like, ugh, well, look at the internet now. It's like, yeah, it's also something that I'm very concerned about when I eventually have crotch goblins is, having a young kid that's going to grow up in the internet and the world and stuff that's out there. That is a concern I genuinely have, but I don't have crotch goblins yet, so it's a fear I have, but I don't have to worry about until the day comes. So there's a big difference between like, middle school, older kid, younger teenager, like edgy humor. And like, again, I liked horror movies and I like things like that. So like I've already seen a lot, but it's really different and really jarring when you're hearing about very graphic adult situations from your friend's parents, bluntly talking to 11 to 13-year-olds as if they're adults when we're not. That being said, don't kid glove them, don't hide them from the universe, but you shouldn't just talk about very graphic things and then wonder why you get phone calls, because that was the thing that happened. Was a couple of my friends' parents were not as passive as my mom was, and they called Corin's parents, and Corin came to school really upset because apparently Corin's parents, was really mad that they're like, well, I'm allowed to talk however I want in my own house. Then they don't have to come here. Oh, they were blah, 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 blah. And it was this whole mess, and it became a huge point of contention between the friend group. And then we ended up actually, ironically enough, going different high schools. And that was like a blessing in disguise. It was one of those weird things. But sadly, I ended up losing like all of my middle school friends, except for two. One of which became my ex-boyfriend, and the other which became a best man bridesmaid at my wedding. Try to guess who was who. So, anyway, once I was in high school, Corin actually, by some weird act of fate, ended up thrusting back into my life, again, with circumstances that weren't in our control. And Corin was very different from how I was from middle school. Corin started hanging out with the drug kids, with the tattoo kids, with the, the I don't care about high school kids. Now, keep in mind, I do recreational legal activities in my state that is legal. I am also a 27-year-old adult. I was not, 15, 16, and 17. I have tattoos that I got when I was older. I didn't get them behind my parents' back with a kit they bought on Amazon. And that is something I will judge about because tattoos are open wounds. They can get very easily infected. And there's a reason why it's illegal for, teenagers to be doing it in their parents' houses. Also, I don't really support parents who just are okay with their kids dropping out of school that's not getting their GED, literally just like dropping out of the education system altogether because what's the point? You can live off of welfare. That is definitely the family that Corin came from. Now, welfare is a very important thing. I got to be very, blunt about this because people get edgy. I have nothing wrong with welfare for people who actually need it. There are people who genuinely need it out there, but when there are people who are, in Corin's family's case, lazy, and they blatantly admitted that they wanted to cheat the system because, well, if I don't have to work, why would I? To all the other, working class people and the poor people that can't work or can't do stuff and have to live on disability. Yeah, no, it's not about them. Just let's cheat the system. So we ended up kind of being forced to hang out in certain situations, and it was very uncomfortable how drastically different we had become. Because again, in high school, I had a boyfriend, I had my friend group, we were still giant weebs, but I ended up messing up my freshman year, and I was trying my darndest to graduate because I wanted to walk with my school, and it was one of those things that I learned while Corin and Corin's friends and Corin's family were all right doing a lot of illegal stuff, and the cops were called on them a lot by their friends' parents for a lot of bad things that were happening. Because Corin would do illegal tattoos in her, basement where, kids wouldn't tell their parents. And then a parent one day, and my dad said it, my dad was so smart. My dad's like, they are going to get arrested because you can't just do that. Some kid's going to go home with a tattoo that was done by a 16-year-old in their basement with a gun they probably got on Amazon or other kid. I don't remember if Amazon was big back in the, 2008, 2009 era. Someone please fact check me. If not, buy it on eBay. But anyway, but online somehow because you can't legally get it if you're not an adult and you're not, trained and everything. But it ended up becoming this whole ordeal, right? But Corin was also an artist, and I was also an artist, and this is where we're getting into it. I know it's crazy. I have 13 minutes talking right now, and I haven't gotten to the meat of it, but this is a big culmination. Like I said, it's all gonna add up at the end. So, there was actually a very big altercation one time where the cops got involved, and Corin actually went to jail. Not for long, but for a little bit. And the parents were surprised that Corin's friends were rats and that they would, rat out Corin. And it's how dare they hurt Corin's business before it was even off the ground and everything. And, it's not like it's important to go to school and it's important to, whatever. They were not good people. They just weren't. And the problem is they weren't bitter people. They were completely happy and content living this lifestyle. And they would always constantly talk about it. So we're going to skip because, again, circumstances happened. Corin left my life. Things were better. We were not friends at that point. It was just, wow. So randomly one day, I would say probably back in 2016 or 2017, right around that range, I got a random message on my Facebook. Remember Facebook, kids? I used to have a lot of people on my Facebook. Now I've done like a culling, and I do another culling soon of people I just don't talk to because I barely go on Facebook because sometimes Facebook is just a very toxic mess. So I got a message from somebody who I did not recognize at all. Didn't recognize the name, didn't recognize the profile picture, and was like, hey, Michi, long time no see. It's me, Corin, and I was like, Corin. Because at that point, I had been long out of high school, long into my life, doing art full time, doing my business, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Corin? Like from middle school Corin? Like, had the cops called on Corin? Like, tried to get in a fight with my boyfriend, Corin? which that did happen. That was actually a pretty funny instance. Cody could have told that story, but didn't end up happening, but it came close. So I was like, oh hey, I literally didn't recognize, like, your name didn't match, your photo didn't match, and it's like, oh yeah, this is me now. And Corin looked drastically different. Oh my god, Corin looked like a completely different person. If it wasn't for the fact that she was heavily tattooed, because I knew what her tattoos looked like, I legit would have thought I was being catfished. But I knew it was her because the tattoos and everything else, and I was like, oh wow, hey, look, you look great. You look a lot healthier. You look really happy. And she was like, oh yeah. I'm seeing that you're doing this art stuff and you're getting really good. And I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. Like, that's great. And in my head, I'm also like, oh well, hopefully she got her shit together. We can pray. And I was like, oh, could you do a picture for me and my baby daddy? And I was like, your baby daddy? You mean your boyfriend? She's like, no, he's my baby daddy. I'm like, okay, don't really understand, but all right. And she like sent me pictures of her and the baby daddy, and like she was like really close to giving birth, and she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, you guys make a really cute couple. Yeah, here's my prices, and I'll get right on it once you pay me. It's like, do you want to, like, because I kind of know you. Do you want me to, like, you want to mail me a check? You want to meet up in person if you still live in Cali? You use PayPal? And she's like, pay you. I'm pregnant. And I'm like, yeah, Corin, this is my job. And Corin's like, well, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, congratulations to that. And I'm like, well, this, and I brought up the tattooing thing. I was like, well, remember when you used to charge your friends for tattoos and stuff? Like, this is my business. This is how I pay my bills. I've been doing it full time. And she's like, yeah, but that's different. Like, tattooing's an actual job. I'm asking you to draw me a picture online. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that, Corin, because I take commissions. And she was like, well, when do you have free time? And I was like, well, when I have free time, I'm doing my own stuff. And she messages me and she's like, I'm pregnant. You cannot expect me to pay for something you threw together in less than 30 minutes, in Photoshop. And I was like, well, I didn't make you pregnant. And I understand that, I'm very happy that you're picking to, pay for your child over buying art online. And then she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, well, you said you can't afford it because you're pregnant. So I'm just assuming that the money's going towards your baby because, I've never been pregnant, but that's what I would be doing if, first of all, I'm an artist. I wouldn't be asking people for free stuff online. I, would, like, save up for it. But also, if I was pregnant, I'd be like, no, my money's going towards, my future child that I'm bringing into the world. And she's like, well, I'm unemployed, and I'm currently on welfare, and my baby daddy, works a part-time minimum wage job, so we can't afford to pay for art. You should just do this because we were friends. And I'm like, Corin, we were friends in middle school. At this point, that was almost 10 years ago, and we weren't friends in high school, and you tried to beat up my boyfriend, and then because we were like Facebook messaging, so it was like a live thing, and it was like, oh well, your boyfriend was a POS and I just didn't like him. And I'm like, oh well, I'm engaged to that boyfriend, and she's like, I just can't believe you could be so heartless that you are denying a pregnant woman a gift for her baby daddy. And I'm just like, I didn't answer. I remember just staring at it. And then I waited for Cody to get home from work, and I went to show him the messages, and he bust up laughing because he was like, oh yeah, because you got her pregnant. I'm like, I guess I did. I guess I got this girl pregnant. And so I went to message, her back, and she blocked me and unfriended me on Facebook. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess that's the end of that. So that was one of the funnier weird commission story times I've had that didn't go anywhere. But like I said, context really mattered because you saw like where her family came from and her upbringing to that point to bring up to it. Because I feel like if I just did the tail end of it, it wouldn't make as much sense that, you know, this has just been a steady road that she's been on. But I do hope, I really do, I do hope that Corin, and if she's still together with baby daddy, which I still don't understand why that wouldn't just be your boyfriend if you're still together, or your husband, but whatever, what do I know? That, you know, they're happy. I hope the kid's happy, because at this point that kid's, you know, got to be a few years old. And so I'm like hoping they're all good, hoping they're doing okay, hoping everything's great, but hoping that they also, you know, respect other forms of art besides just tattooing. And yeah, that's my little story time. Let me know if you guys liked it. Let me hear if you have any weird, crazy commission stories down below. I love reading those. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe because YouTube is dumb. And if you don't, then they don't push my videos to you guys. Or if you want, please follow me on my other social medias. My Linktree link is down below. And thank you as always to my amazing Patreon patrons. Literally without you, I would not be here. Every little bit helps. Thank you so much. And as always, guys, I will see you next time. Hopefully. Bye.
Once dipping my toes ever so slightly in the art drama side of YouTube, naturally, Google can't handle doing anything beyond aggressively advertising anything the algorithm thinks you have a splash of interest in. With that, a username of sorts kept showing up on my feed, summoned by Lumi Starbun, featuring your generic pastel character anime drawing with some spicy claims attached. On a whim, one day I decided, you know what, screw it, I'll click one of the videos, figure out what it is, you know, thinking mayhaps this is some juicy story. I couldn't honestly get through it though, and didn't really care enough, and just seemed like petty BS I didn't care about. But regardless, the name kept popping up on all sorts of small art or drama channels and kept being recommended to me. So finally, after a couple of months, I thought, heck, let's give this a try and see what it's all about. Let's introduce you, who may not be aware of, an artist named Lumi Starbun. So let me preface this right now with a couple of things. Firstly, I'm going to refer to this person as Lumi, and she/her as her usernames and identity and gender status change extremely frequently, and I cannot for the life of me keep track of it all. So if by the time this video goes up and she identifies differently than I am identifying her as, please forgive me. I honestly do not intend to keep up with this person after this video goes up for, well, reasons you will understand. Secondly, let me go on record and say allegedly. If there's anything I somehow goofed up on, I apologize. Normally I try to research topics really well, but this is a lot of he said, she said, or things that took place in DMs that had nothing to do with me, and I mean a lot of this stuff is like deleted, mostly by Lumi. So I won't have a receipt-rich video this time. If you hear a cat popping off in the background, I apologize, and if you hear rain, also I apologize. Suppose those of you who enjoy just watching my speed paints, this one goes out to you. Let's also give out a big spicy do not heckle anyone mentioned in this video. If you do, I will personally duke on your bedroom pillow. Do you want to clean human doo-doo off your pillow? No, do not get your pillow doo-dooed on. And do not go after anyone. We're a squad who discusses things, not a squad who invokes doo-doo pillows. Alright, let's get into it, folks. So Lumi Starbun is a 16-year-old Twitter artist from Sweden who somehow got mixed into a lot of self-inflicted drama. She apparently appeared on people's radar when she started drawing for Madame/Princess Ash, who is already an artist or YouTuber with some sort of not so positive history. Gotta throw out a big disclaimer, I never really looked into the whole situation with Madame Princess Ash or whoever. I don't know what happened, and to be quite honest, I don't particularly care. I don't get involved with people like that usually, so excuse me if I don't understand the full weight of the situation. All I know is when Lumi Starbun started complaining about not getting paid for a drawing for this person, nobody was shocked, but she appeared on people's radars. Supposedly, Lumi was under fire a bit for art thieving or copying other people's designs. I have no source, no sauce for this one, so I'm not really gonna focus on it. Art thieving and copying designs is a video topic for another day, but apparently this is one of several reasons Lumi left a bad taste in people's mouths. There was also allegations of her being hateful on Twitter, saying transphobic things and then turning around and trying to claim various gender identities. Again, this is another claim that I personally don't have the receipts for, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. So then the shitstorm begins. I will try to create a timeline, but I can't guarantee that this will be 100% correct. This is all a big mess. So from what I understand, Lumi Starbun was in a long distance relationship with a 17-year-old American named Matt. She was friends with another girl online named Castiel. After enduring abusive and manipulative behaviors from Lumi, Castiel made some sort of expose video or something on Lumi, or tried to come out about it all at the very least. I don't know how that went down for sure, because if there is evidence of it, it's been taken down, other than, Lumi's reactions to it. Castiel confided incredibly private things to Lumi, such as what I interpret to be abuse from a family member in quite possibly a sexual manner. Lumi leveraged this against Castiel, knowing she has PTSD, triggering seizures and causing further mental harm. Lumi responded to this by doxing her address, her phone, her father's face, her own face, and had people threaten and harass her family. Lumi then took to faking her own suicide on social media. Apparently, that would not be the first or the last time that happens. She approached a YouTuber named Nani, asking if they were going to make a video on her. They said no. She continued to DM Nani in Discord, asking for help and encouraging Nani to make a video. She went and gave Nani her life story, I guess, trying to explain why she does the horrible thing she does. Let's delve into that for just a moment. So she explains that she had an abusive family, or abusive upbringing. She didn't really exactly go into detail as to how so, but explained that because of that, she was lonely and developed a manipulative and overly attached personality to latch onto whatever friend she had at the time. She said she also had multiple personality disorder, had an identity she named Mimi, who apparently is the child she never got to be. Cringy, but I guess. Conveniently, it is also a frou-frou weeaboo Japanese name, but we'll continue on regardless. Mimi will be readdressed later on as well. She explains that she was diagnosed with depression and autism. She says she also had suicidal thoughts starting at 13 and cut herself on occasion. She claimed she was lonely, so apparently she made a friend and became overattached to said friend, and every time this friend tried to leave her, she would manipulate this friend back into not leaving her. Eventually, the friendship ended because the girl's mother didn't like Lumi and didn't want her around her daughter. I wonder why. She goes on to claim that the end of this friendship furthered her depression. Next, she claims she befriended and fell in love with some girl, which is already wild because she was so young, but regardless, went on to date her for 7 months. She was controlling, overattached, just as she mentioned before with her friend. She would threaten to kill herself if her girlfriend left her, and apparently at that time had 3 failed attempts at suicide. Well, I'm personally not sure if she attempted or if she had faked it 3 times at that point, but either way, it was used as some sort of ammo to prove to that poor girl that she wasn't screwing around and meant it, to force her to stay in the relationship. Apparently, when that girl finally had enough, leveled up, and left Lumi decided, instead of telling the internet simply that the relationship ended, that the ex killed herself. Absolutely wonderful. 0 to 1,000. She then claimed her mental health was at an all-time low. She continues on to explain that she did all of that because she craved the attention she never got as a child. She'd fake suicide because she'd be so engulfed by positive attention and love she so desperately craved. Let's take a moment and unpack all of this. and have a chat. Let's start with the claims of an abusive childhood. I do not want to undermine her experiences, as I obviously have no personal idea what she went through. She could have been spoiled, she could have been genuinely abused. I get it. A lot of us go through stuff like that way more than you'd expect. We all expect that everyone has great lives, but then once you get to know people more intimately, you discover deep turmoil and dark pasts that you would have never expected. It can range from cruel insults and manipulative behavior to full-on physical abuse and more. I personally have gone through some stuff that definitely weighed on me for a long time. I was absolutely one of those people who toted around their messed up childhood for way longer than I'd like to admit. But I, nor anyone else I know with more severe abuse, has acted like this child has. It goes without saying, and I'm sure most of us agree, a tough lifestyle isn't an excuse to behave like that. The only thing a rough experience speaks for is unusual behaviors that you work on and try to get over. An example, when you suffer from PTSD, there are certain things that can spark a place in your brain that results in behaviors not deemed normal or acceptable by the public, such as suddenly crying or having a panic attack. When going through things like that, you work with professionals and you do what you can to improve your mental health. You also learn tools to help cope and deal with turmoil in the future. Trauma doesn't magically make you a master manipulator, starved for attention. Let me also clarify, when I say get over, I mean like get through, not like get over it. Like I'm not telling you you're a brat or anything like that, for those who may be concerned. Let me also delve a little deeper about something personal. This is gonna suck, but me and my siblings did not get a lot of attention from our parents. I had my phase of being attention starved, but that manifested as a desperation for a boyfriend or a partner. As soon as one relationship ended, another began, and in the event I didn't have a boyfriend, I was constantly crushing on someone. I had this insatiable desire to have a male figure love me, but after getting over past issues and having experience with someone who does truly love me without smothering me or abusing me, I grew past it. My younger sister had it much worse. However, she not only had almost no interaction with our parents, but me and our other sister were kind of in an age range where we like to chill out alone all the time, and she didn't really have much friends either. So she was really alone and attention starved. This manifested as acting out or getting into trouble all of the time, because if she did something bad, people paid attention to her. She lied a lot and did some horrible things that when I was younger I hated her for, but even she was nowhere near the extent of this Lumi girl. She also eventually got over it and started to behave more like a normal person. I do not believe Lumi's manipulation and over-attachment manifests from just simply loneliness as a child. I also kind of want to go out and say something, and correct me if I'm wrong, but not all mental disorders or behaviors have to be linked to something in the past. Like, you don't have to fall out of a tree and hit your head as a kid to have autism. You just have it. It almost paints this picture that in order to be a bad person, the world has to have somehow wronged you, and therefore you can act the way you do. I'm sorry, but this world can be incredibly cruel and unforgiving. We really want to believe that there's a reason for everything, an explanation for everything, but sometimes there just isn't. I think she needs to focus less on what the past has done to her and more about what she should and can do in the future. The focus should be on how to accept her past and move on, not leverage her past as ammo to further abuse other people. And delving even further into mental health, she claims she was diagnosed with depression and autism. I will not discredit her there, it's very possible, but I've noticed every single person publicly who does something unacceptable always ties it back to the fact that they have autism and depression, or they have anxiety and depression. But let's talk about autism first. I personally am not on the spectrum, but I have family members and many friends who are. They span from high functioning, not so much, and each of them are unique. The key factor in all of them is that their brain interprets social interactions a bit differently than the majority of people. With a lot of them, the issue is hypersensitivity. They pick up on way too much and their brain can't process every little detail that's occurring all at once. They're overstimulated and it causes them to break down. They may seemingly overreact to situations, for instance. Regardless, it doesn't cause abusive behaviors. It doesn't explain away manipulative tactics. There have been so many times I've had to stand by and watch the pain in my friends when some goon online does something manipulative and places the blame on their autism or depression. It's insulting and it diminishes the public's trust and opinion in those who are on the spectrum. It's additionally frustrating because autism isn't some disease that requires there's a cure. They're just people without normal typical brains. They still otherwise behave like any other person. Depression. I swear every single YouTube apology ties in depression somewhere in it. Ladies, gentlemen, squirrels, depression does not cause you to say or do horrible things to people. Depression does suck, and it weighs you down, and it makes you a person you aren't sometimes. But you're more likely to recoil from interacting from people in your hobbies than to passionately pursue drama and pain in others. Shit makes no sense. Depression doesn't make you crave attention. Depression doesn't make you want to hurt people closest to you. Depression isn't a tool, an explanation, and I really wish people would stop discussing depression as if it is. Depression is an imbalance of chemicals in the brain. That's a magical get out of jail free card. And again, it's insulting to others who genuinely struggle and feel stuck in quicksand in their everyday lives for some teenage brat online to whine about their depression after abusing her friends multiple times. Depression is really difficult, and I feel for all of you who go through it, Lumi included, but she should have kept that shit out of the equation entirely. I am sorry, but if she truly cared and was looking for reasonings for her behaviors, she needs to delve deeper than just, I'm a depressed, lonely autist, and truly examine her behaviors. This is also a personal opinion I'm gonna slide in here, but people who threaten suicide are the worst kinds of people. Literally the worst. Cannot stand them. It's even worse that this isn't a once or twice scenario. This girl thrives when her close friends or loved ones are in pain. I'm no psychiatrist, but she really strikes me as a sociopath or something. Something is up with her, clearly. So I'm gonna move on briefly from all that for a bit and continue on into this story. So 2017, I guess? Castiel, Lumi's friend, makes that video exposing Lumi, and as mentioned before, Lumi faked her suicide again afterwards. Eventually, Lumi came out with an apology video. You could find it mirrored online and reacted to by others, but I will summarize. She did a lot of repeating herself, saying things like, I was wrong, I won't make excuses for myself, I don't deserve your forgiveness, and saying very generalizing, sweeping claims such as, I was manipulative, I was wrong. She explained how she of course has autism and doesn't understand or something, that she was homeschooled and has no friends and is lonely, all that hoopla, and it wasn't very well received. The problem stems from the fact that it sounds like she had to apologize, not that she wanted to. She didn't really explain what exactly it was that she did that was wrong, such as, I was manipulative. Okay, how? What did you do that was manipulative? It comes across as though she's hiding a lot when she does that. She also has no concern for how anything she did has affected other people. It doesn't feel like she has processed that concept at all. For someone who claims she was abused, she doesn't really seem to empathize and understand what abuse does to someone. People didn't accept the apology, it seemed, so she moved on and bettered herself by faking her suicide once again. Cute. So she's sliding into Nani's DMs at this point, pretty much saying that she needs someone to kind of lead the way into bettering herself, but also at the same time stick up for her. She acts like this broken child who has no idea what to do, doesn't know right from wrong, but in the same breath admits she's wrong and knows that she is. Because of course, some stranger on the internet with self-perceived clout is going to make your bad behavior poof away magically. I haven't said it yet, but I'll say it now and continue to say this, but this girl needs genuine help. She needs a break from the internet and to be working with a professional, maybe even several. But regardless, her remedy was apologizing for fake suicide, saying she'd never do it again by faking suicide again right afterwards, and then running to some other online personality to fix her mistakes for her. Also, finally, in her apology video, she said she was ashamed of not allowing comments and ratings and was open to critique, but blipped that video off the internet the moment people weren't buying her bull poop. So Nani makes their video, and Lumi goes on to claim that Nani was exposing her private life, even though Lumi told Nani to. I also find it hilarious that these vague as hell explanations such as abusive childhood and over-controlling relationships with no details whatsoever as to how they transpired are somehow private. Things that she excuses her behavior. Aight, kid. So I haven't really explained this at this point, but somehow she started dating this boy Matt at some time, I guess in the summer of last year, I believe. I don't know the details, but supposedly she manipulated him as she did her other relationships, but he was manipulative too, I guess? I don't know if birds of a feather flock together, or if he's a victim of the abuse as well, like, you know, the Kai and Onision situation. I have no idea. But when this ish went down, when the relationship ended, Lumi took to deleting and creating new accounts and new personas like it was her full-time career. In one of those accounts, she created a video exposing this ex. This is where this drama really flared up, and Lumi Starbun started appearing in videos in my recommended. That is because she claimed he sexually assaulted her, which is weird because she said something about the character Mimi being, you know, the child she never was, but then to, I don't know, cheat on your boy. I don't know, there's something that really doesn't smell right with me there, but whatever. She also said some horrible stuff like she was glad Castiel was, you know, abused or something, leveraging against that poor child. She has copy strike videos she doesn't like, one of them being her boyfriend, whose channel was temporarily suspended because he had 3 strikes from her. People are also upset recently because she drew cheese pizza of her and a previous underage boyfriend or something, and solicited nudes or something from her minor boyfriend, who I will not name. Let's also talk about manipulation. I think when you are being manipulated, you tend to portray those behaviors too when you are heavily involved with someone, such as a significant other or close family member who is manipulating you. Sometimes you're kind of trapped in this echo chamber where you have normalized a level of toxicity and will take part in it as well without, I guess, realizing it. I've been there. I've had a history of manipulative relationships, and then I myself started behaving that way when it got really bad. It got to the level where I started to do things that I did not and could not self-identify with, sort of dissociating from the person I was becoming. I hated the things I started to do and hated people like that, and I couldn't really wrap my head around or believe that I had started to do any of that. There were also learned behaviors from my own aforementioned abusive past that I started to emulate. One of those things being, when I felt I was hurt, I needed the person who hurt me to feel that hurt also. I needed them to prove to me that they are feeling the destruction and betrayal that I was feeling. When I was angry or hurt, I would open up an entire can of worms, and instead of just being upset with them for what they did in that moment, I'd bring up every single thing they've ever done that was wrong and just explosively melt down about it all. It was a mess and continued to fester until I ended the relationship. Even then, I still wasn't moved past those behaviors. Thing is though, I had to confront them, the things that I did. I had to sit in my own mind and face that there are factors on my side that caused the situation to be much worse than it had to be. The biggest problem was that I wouldn't face them. I knew they were there, but again, I wasn't self-identifying with them. I knew I was being overly cruel when I was being lied to, but I didn't really address that. I eventually reached out and apologized, but what really helped myself personally was assessing the issue head on. And it starts with accepting that you did those things, and it's okay that it was you who did them, as long as you can grow from it. It's incredible. I recognized the situation and I learned from it. I improved, I bettered myself, and I'm strengthened by it. The thing is though, this girl doesn't strike me as being self-aware the way she thinks she is. She knows she's doing bad things, but she doesn't seem to be processing any sort of remorse. That's what's scary about it. It's obsessive, self-involved, and destructive. I can only hope she can move on like I did, but I don't know what it's going to take. This girl is someone who has no issues putting others' well-being on the line, and attention is just a disposable currency for her. At the very least, all I can do is advise any of you listening to stay away from her so that she doesn't hurt you. As seen with Castiel, she goes after vulnerable people. Abusers have a lot of things in common. Either way, I know it may be difficult as her current thing is to change her persona and identity frequently to gain attention but evade the criticism. But if you notice her, just stay away if possible. I want to wrap this up with tips to those of you who are listening. If you're struggling at home, even if it's hard, you need to do whatever you can to reach out for help. And I know it's easier said than done, but the internet isn't going to make the hard things go away. Find someone, anyone. If you're having suicidal thoughts, please look into reaching out for help, especially. There are online and hotline resources who are there to help, who are there to hear your story and offer you support. Whatever country you're in, wherever you are in the world, there's somebody out there who will help you. Please take care of yourself, guys. I really want to go on a tangent about online relationships, relationships, as I was in a handful of them myself and had quite a few experiences that make me want to go big sister mode and just yap on about advice, but I don't think it'll be helpful. Regardless, I know you've probably heard it 1,000 of times, but be careful, guys. Take care of yourselves. Put yourself first, but be kind to others also. Alright, thank you so much for listening and putting up with this. I don't know how you guys are gonna react to this one, because I don't know, it's not really a place I've gone before, I think, but let me know what your thoughts are. If you're familiar with the story, like, chat with me on this. This shit's weird. At first, like, I didn't care, but then as I, learned more about it, I'm like, this girl's cray. This shit ain't right. But that's obvious, I really want to try to offer, like, helping thoughts, but obviously I can't always help, so it is what it is. But I definitely wanted to discuss it and, not just, like, to come after a YouTuber in particular, but to kind of have a discussion on those types of things and I guess to figure out how to work around those. So as always, give me your thoughts. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about the art in the video, as usual, let me know down below. I have no problems. If you have any suggestions for topics in the future, of course, leave them below as well. And you know what? I'm gonna go out and say something new here. If there's any like topics you want me to cover or you think I should cover, feel free to like tag me on like Twitter or Instagram or like DM me with topics, and if I get like multiple of like the same suggestion, I'll probably go after it, because up to this point, if I got even like one suggestion, I'm like, oh, I'll look into it, but like sometimes I look into it and it's not really like fruitful enough for a video, so it'd be like that sometimes, I really do. But I do like listen to you guys and consider it, and sometimes there's topics that I feel I need to kind of put more work into, such as a coloring tutorial, so that's why it's not coming out quite as fast as other things, but come out eventually. But yeah, if you want a full-size PSDs with all the layers, if you want walkthroughs or tutorials that are not on YouTube, or you want me to guide you, redline your artwork, whatever you may want, in addition to what I already provide you here on the free interwebs, head over to patreon.com/yukibuns. I also have my Etsy store open right now with some new goodies, and I plan on making more, so head over there if you want to buy some physical goodies, and follow me on social media. That'd be dandy. I love interacting with you guys and seeing what you guys do, and most importantly, I've been doing an artist feature at the end of my video featuring artists. I'll put it up on screen now. We have a Discord server where we discuss art or just chat in general, and I also have a special art feature channel, so if you want your art featured as well, head over in that channel, post your goods, heck yeah boys. But I also kind of want to emphasize the server again, because I really like having a community where people can be comfy and support each other and have a good environment to kind of open up and better yourself, but not, I don't know, feel like pressured. So opportunity's yours, take it if you want. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. I don't like talking that much, honestly. I hate getting DMs because I'm not as social as you might think that I am. So yeah, it'd be like that. So thanks for listening to all this. Sorry if it's super long. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!